S2E2 music. Hey, it's that fantasy
Hey!
show.
Welcome week 2, everybody, that fantasy show. I am your host, your friendly local neighborhood YouTuber, Michael Amen, joined by...
Brian,
And who else we got with us?
we got a little Jason Voorhees over here with a Michael Myers knife, aka Archie.
And
And
also...
Miss Ella.
Ella, remember, go ahead and get close to your microphone whenever you speak. And as you know how we like to open our show each and every week, Ella, why don't you go ahead and kick us off with the pledge, please?
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
America!
America!
That's what I'm talking about. No matter what, we love this country no matter what. So thank you for that, Miss Ella, kicking off the show. Can't wait to revisit Ella's pick six later on in the show. But for now, please, you and little Voorhees over there, you guys can go chill out and do whatever you want to do. We'll check in on you later on the kid cam.
y'all later. Later, dude.
All right, Brian. Week 1 is in the books. I got the sound effects on lock now over
Threw
here.
me off. I haven't heard that one before.
Week 1 is in the books. So how do you feel about last week? Maybe in general, maybe in fantasy, in NFL, whatever. How do you feel last week went?
Generally, didn't get a lot of time to watch football last week. Got a lot of busy things going on. If you know me, I'm setting up the Halloween decor. We're in full swing. Earlier than expected this year on account of Archie pushing us every day to put more Halloween out. So that's what we got going on. But 3-0 on all 3 fantasy leagues for me.
Oh, that's pretty
I think
lucky
that
right there.
deserves the-
Yeah, let me hit that one right there. And I'll give you, you can have the
Ding,
ding
ding.
ding dings too. You
like
can
it.
even have a little music. I know this one too. This was a little Ella favorite. We got this one knocked down. But anyway, yeah. It was definitely a little tough week for our country there. There was a lot of divisiveness going on there. And that's another reason why I love sports because it kind of brings people together. It's definitely
Yeah.
a unifier is more than a divider.
That's
So
for sure.
can't wait to get into week 2 because then my feed on my social medias can all be filled with sports stuff again instead of the crazy last week that's just happened.
And the local teams, big L's over here. So, I mean, last week Michigan lost to Oklahoma, and then we had the Lions took that dud against the Packers. The Lions just did not look right.
Yeah, it was a kind of
Disjointed.
somber week around this area.
Yeah, it was tough.
Well, anyway, so a lot of people's fantasy teams might have suffered the same fate. A lot of 0-1 teams out there. I myself am included in that, especially in our touted closing with Steve Dynasty League. I suffered a close loss there, but it's week 2, so you don't know what anybody's got yet in the NFL, in fantasy. Week 1, okay, you can see some good things. You've seen some bad teams. Miami didn't particularly perform well in the NFL, but week 2, we don't know what we got yet. Once you start getting past 2 or 3 weeks, you kind of know what you got as a team. NFL and fantasy included, you're going to start getting exposed for your weaknesses. Your strengths are going to show off. So you still got a chance to prove who you are, whether it's fantasy or your NFL team
It's not over yet.
or your local college
Even
team.
if you drafted 2 quarterbacks in the first 2 rounds, there's
Yeah.
still hope.
Oh, there's definitely still hope. Because like I said, one of those is going to be trade pieces right there. You got a valuable piece right there, even if that is your case. But yeah, and then even when we dive into these rankings, we're going to look into last week's top scorers and then this week's up and coming rankings. But you're going to see some things are different compared to last week's rankings when we go over our points leaders. So even though you may be strong in one area, weak in another area, last week it wasn't necessarily a week for receivers out there, Brian. When we look at that list right there, you're going to be shocked at some of the names on that list right there.
Oh yeah, it was slim pickings for some of those
And-
highly drafted wide receivers in the fantasy world.
Yeah, if you had a first round receiver, sorry about last week. There was probably only one or two of those guys that may even be in the top 15 point scores for that. And 2 of the guys I believe on the top 10 list weren't even drafted on most teams. Maybe on some of the deeper leagues, the dynasty leagues, stuff like that. But yeah, there's definitely an interesting week 1 for fantasy. The running backs stayed true to form. I feel like a lot of the top running backs performed. So when we dive into those, we're gonna take a look and see how that looked for last week. And then this week, there's some interesting matchups this week. Some people are prepped for good weeks, but again, when you see the difference in the rankings and the actual results from week 1, I kind of take week two's rankings with a little grain of salt because, I don't know. And then this week, there's some interesting.
Oh, well,
That was
well,
crazy. But anyways, I'm like, oh, who's on the mic? We only got two microphones.
I'm dealing with the chat in the background. I can't get the chat going on the streamer. I can't see what people are saying. I'm trying to figure out.
I love the
what's going
chat,
on.
and again, we love our supporters. We don't have many, but the ones that we do, we know them. We definitely appreciate people. We're gonna talk ball a lot more today. Obviously, some people may need some help with their team, so please, if you have questions, fire away. We just have opinions. Like I said, we're experts, but that doesn't mean we think we're better than anybody. We just have experience. We've seen a lot of things. I can offer my opinion, and then also, my opinion is backed by stuff I read on the internet. I can help you guide to where you can look on the internet to be good for your own team. Obviously, we're noted fans of a certain website, and then we also look at a couple other websites. But
Right.
yeah, I'm locked and loaded, Brian. Whenever
I'm not locked and loaded. I'm struggling over here.
well, I don't know what you need from me, but
Oh, we're good. We're good.
want
We roll punches here, as you say. We figure out as we go.
if you want to jump into last week's like point scores, I can sit here and monologue that a little bit
Oh,
while
yeah.
you're getting that together, and then you can jump in with whatever time you got there on your end. But
Let's see what's going down. Let me get into the
if
content
we can
slides
get that
here.
open and check that out. So the quarterbacks, that was definitely a area too where the leader was definitely probably QB1 or QB2 in most people's draft. Uh, when we get to that, that's obviously Josh Allen. That game was insane. The Sunday night game, a lot of points as expected. I believe that was 81 points in that game, 41-40 final. Uh, and Josh Allen, if you got him and that's your QB for the rest of the season, you should be happy. He had a great night. Is every night going to be like that? No, but the floor from that night is still going to be better than most of these guys' ceilings. So yeah, that's definitely top QB in the league. So anybody that's got him, congratulations. Um, there's something on that when it comes up though. I can't wait. I'm excited to talk about in the top scorer list for that. The rankings for this week actually look pretty similar to last week. But then again, when you see the top scores of the week, it's like, okay, rankings, how can I trust you when I know that there's a top 20 guy or in the 20th ranked guy that finished in the top five? That's kind of unheard of. So that means, should I look at these rankings right now here on my list and, okay, who's in 20 to 25 is one of these guys going to be in the top three or four this week? So
defense coming out in the weekly rankings.
okay, we can bust this one out real quick. So defense, a lot of this wasn't typically how it was drafted. Again, when we talked about defenses too, we talked about how it was more matchup related, wouldn't you say? So
Oh, absolutely. We're not showing the matchups from last week here, but we got the rankings 1 through 6. We got their score.
yeah, this
Typical
typical
point value.
total.
Is this coming off our league point value setting?
So this is from just a typical defensive league settings. This would be in the same settings for PPR leagues. So it's going to be standard stuff. Most leagues don't do anything outrageous. So our league's pretty standard for this. This was just the top leaders from last week, and it actually fits a couple in there. There was obviously some ties there. So defenses, 14 right there. If I got 14 out of a defense, I'm extremely happy. But the 8 to 10s, 7 to 11s, those are point ranges for defense. So I try to base those off of matchups.
Anything over 10 is solid production for your team.
So anyway, this was just last week's leader. No need to divulge more into that. If you didn't draft one of these at your top one, that's just goes to show how you don't have to draft a defense so high because there's going to be value later. Because even though, okay, Baltimore or Buffalo or the Steelers defense or the Jets defense, those were some of the first ones taken. They're not on this list right here. So that's why you don't have to waste value in a draft. Oh, I better take my defense in the 10th round, 11th round. No, save that for the end under all circumstances because it doesn't matter. You're no matter what you pick, you're probably going to get 7 to 11 points.
No, you're streaming all year unless you got the top 1 or 2 defenses. You're not hanging
So,
on to that guy.
Yeah, this was week 1,
Well,
and
we
some
beat
of that
the
was
defense last week. Let's jump on to something more exciting.
Yeah.
What do you want to jump
Yeah.
into? We got
We-
kickers,
just-
quarterbacks, running backs, receivers. Tight ends.
you just take wherever we go, and then I got
I'm
some stuff
kicking
queued
tight
up
ends
over
then,
here.
All right.
So tight ends, this was a little shocking right here. Brock Bowers still in the top 3.
Yeah, that's solid. I mean, if you burned your first tight end pick on him in the second or third round, you feel pretty good about that.
And this isn't really an exciting position, as I'm on record saying. These point totals are lower than the defense point
Yeah.
totals. So your defense, okay, got more, but this is typically what tight ends look at.
Yeah,
So
that's a good point there. Lower than the defense, but some of these top tight ends, you're expecting 20-point weeks out of them, especially Bowers. Kelsey's coming on pretty strong this year. He took a long time to get going last year, so that is good for Kelsey owners. Laporta's in there in the middle of the mix on this first sheet. Dalton Kincaid, number 1 over there.
so that's a little shocking.
Buffalo was slinging it around, airing the ball out. That game was crazy. Let me tell you.
And with him being so low in the draft, he was, in the late teens in the draft board right there and ended up tight end number 1. So this is another reason why if you don't get one of those top 3 guys, they're still going to be value later. There's
Don't
no
worry.
need to reach for a tight end in the 6th round if it ain't a top guy.
Yeah,
And
I've
then
always been a proponent of filling that spot because it's one of those it's like a barren wasteland out there, desert of tight ends normally. So you got a few guys that are consistent every week. It's the top 2 or 3 guys, but then Exhibit A here, anybody could just come out and have a good week, and you got to keep an eye on those waivers. Zach Ertz probably undrafted in most leagues.
Zach Ertz, Noah Fant, undrafted in most leagues.
Yeah.
Jawan Johnson, undrafted in most leagues. Those 3 guys, top 10.
Okay.
So you don't need much value in there unless you get those top guys.
That's right.
I did do a second rankings of the tight end. This just goes to show, okay, 1 or 2 of the top guys fell down there. But other than that, like Jonnu Smith, he was available in most leagues towards the end. 3 of these guys undrafted. Hunter Henry still fell a little bit, but Trey McBride, that's just an off week for that. Other than that, like Kyle Pitts sitting down there, he didn't necessarily have the best week. He's still ranked pretty high for this week, but there's still some value at tight end where, like I said, it just goes to show you don't need to put a lot of stock in having the best one because it's going to be like throwing darts regardless.
Shout out
So.
to Allie. Got the hat coming in. The hair was looking rough, as noted.
Duh.
We got a Blake Mary here. Look at that.
She going to keep you together, too.
Yeah, I got
Well, we can move on from these tight
I
ends.
feel
Looking
like
at
I'm sitting behind the plate at America Park. We got the people come down,
we
bring
got
you
the
drinks.
waitresses. Yeah, now I need something. What do I get sent down here? No, I actually had a lovely breakfast. I'm good
Yeah,
to
Mike
go.
needs a drink. What's going on?
Anyway, tight ends. Yeah, there you go. So, like I said, your guy should have been in the top few here. If not, this position, it looks like this all year. There's no excitement here. It is what it is. I shoot darts
Jake
and
said in the chat, said my mic's a little quiet.
Jake. Okay, thank
Let's
you
try
for
to fix
that. Well, I think, like I said, you just got to be
Oh, I
like
gotta talk really loud.
louder. Yeah, I switched your microphone, but thanks for that, though.
It's Woody over here.
Yeah, bust it out.
Okay.
Well, anyway, we'll move on from here, and I'll try to step back, tone it down.
Tone
I
it
think.
down.
Yeah,
Let's
I'll just
quarterback. Let's
easy
take a look at
money,
quarterback.
Mike.
Josh
Quarterbacks.
Allen.
This
Holy
was
crap.
exciting. Most importantly, okay, 1 and 4. Those were 1 and 2 of the quarterbacks drafted. That's exactly where they
Craziest
should
name
be.
on this list, Daniel Jones, number 3.
So I myself known Daniel Jones supporter over here.
That's the last name. Yeah.
QB3 last week on that fantasy show. I guaranteed he would be in the top 10 in scoring. There he is, right there at number 3, people. Not necessarily touting my own home boy. Ding, 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 ding. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so it's fantasy football. Like, it's not an exciting name, but, quarterbacks, it could be anywhere. Aaron Rodgers wasn't drafted in most leagues either. There he is at number 7. Mahomes was available in rounds 5, 6, 7 in some of the things. Justin Fields, lower end of the draft boards. Right there, number 2. I believe we were asked in the chat last week. I said he could get 50 yards and 2 touchdowns before he even throws the ball. The guy went out and got 48 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I called a couple shots. I was wrong about a couple things. We'll revisit that when we look at the gambling picks. But just goes to show, again, you don't have to panic if you're drafting. You didn't have to have one of those top guys, although the top guys are right there, 1 and 4.
Yeah, you got Jackson, Mahomes, Allen, all earlier round quarterbacks. And then, obviously, Daniel Jones, completely unexpected. But you feel good about Herbert or Rodgers if you got them late and they're putting up that production. That's what we're talking about. You want to hit that low value in the draft. They're valued very low, but they got a lot of room, high ceiling.
Exactly.
Specifically, Herbert, who he's coming off a couple lackluster years, but those first few years of his career, he looked like Mahomes-esque.
And he looked great.
The guys, and he's looking good. And,
he looked great.
They're not running the ball in that Harbaugh offense. They're slinging it around. So,
And that's a big misconception about
Yeah.
that offense. You just got to be good at the run so you can be good at the pass. But they'll sling that thing around, and then we're going to see when we look at the receiver rankings that benefited some of the receivers there. And again, Herbert was available in the teens rounds of most drafts. So again, if you load up on your draft strategy, the best running backs, the best receivers, well, not in that order for me, receivers then running backs, but you can find value for quarterback that will be towards the top of lists.
Right.
But anyway, I did do another rank of quarterbacks here
Hold on.
too. So
Please hold.
yeah, do what you got to do. I can still tuck it out. Like I said, Aaron Rodgers wasn't drafted in most leagues, and that's just a name just based off of the name alone. Maybe not for a dynasty league, but that guy's going to get results. So I do expect, like every time I see that name, okay, if it's a good matchup, he's going to do okay. Anything I can help with? I feel like this could potentially be bad. Are we?
All right. Avoided catastrophe.
We're locked and loaded.
We need a new power strip next week because
I-
fact of the matter is the computer charger keeps going in and out. I have to keep plugging it in different slots, and we almost had a meltdown there. We would have been off the air. People been set in the dark. Who knows?
See, that's why we're not promoting. We haven't been promoting too much lately because we want to make sure we get some consistent episodes out.
We're working on our quality.
And we want to talk ball a lot. As speaking of talking ball, if you can move on to the next, just for the QB2 rankings for last week. So this is where, again, there's names here that were drafted low or possibly not drafted at all. Michael Penix wasn't probably on most people's teams. Brock Purdy, he was probably drafted, but like I said, these are the mid range of the QBs last week. Caleb Williams was going low. You don't have to put a lot of stock in QB rankings or QB value when you're drafting because you can still find value. And then Jaden Daniels, he was 1, 2, or 3 in a lot of rankings. He was kind of mid, didn't necessarily have the best week, and then we just saw a Thursday night game where he didn't really look the best either. So maybe it was sophomore slump. I'm not calling it that, but maybe for fantasy purposes, you could have found better value instead of wasting. What was he going in rounds like 3 to 6?
They're up there. But anyway, I mean, you get 20 plus points. You're still pretty happy about your QB. Let's be honest.
Absolutely. Well, my QB's not on there. I didn't do any more rankings for this because if you didn't make this, you're gonna have bad weeks. Like I said, in fantasy, it's a roller coaster, up and down. So,
Up and down.
so what you got next? Which one are you gonna move to next? Boom. This is running backs. Okay, there's your boy right there, King Dinosaur himself, Derrick Henry.
Dude is not dropping off.
So-
did we sound like we're in a cave talking, or is that just me?
I don't know. Like I said, I can't really do anything about this little echo thing. Like we're right here.
I just feel like
I can do this right here.
I like this.
This might
is
be a
better.
little bit better right here, but
I think it's better.
just keep it moving. So
Anyway.
Javonte Williams coming in at number 2 on that list. That was a name that wasn't so high in the draft. So if you did go 0 RB and this was the guy that you got for your running back 1, that is absolute excellent strategy. Cook was a guy that was probably some people's RB1 and then came right up in there number 4. Obviously, Bijan Robinson.
Some of these dudes are obviously they're on the rise since last year. I mean, Hubbard's kind of proven himself. Etienne, I think he's got a little bit of allure there in Jacksonville. Bijan Robinson, I mean, he's his third year now, and he's been like touted as the dude, and I think we're starting to see he might be able to pull that off. But yeah, Derrick Henry, just I don't know what they're feeding this guy. He sleeps in a cryo chamber, no idea.
More of the
Not
same
in
this
stock.
week from Henry too. We'll revisit that.
You're happy if you're Henry.
Again,
Page 2, Christian McCaffrey. I mean, people think he injury prone, scared. I mean, he went out and had a solid week. These numbers seem kind of low. Didn't he do a little better than that?
yeah. So in general,
This PPR. This might be non-PPR.
So this may be, like I said, I was up a little late doing these slides and stuff, but anyway, this is just typical like low point totals anyway. No one's running backs were really like coming through with like crazy numbers last week anyway. Again, this is why I don't put a lot of value on taking the top guys because a lot of these guys were drafted in the mid to late 10.
Yeah, McCaffrey had 23 points last week.
Yeah.
So this is not.
So this
Accounting for-
isn't PPR. Okay, so yeah, that's my bad. Like I said, I was
He had 9 catches.
lot
So,
going on last night. So
It's cool. We can
let's
mix it up
just
every once
skip
in a while.
these
Skip
then.
the
But I
story.
know the receiver ones are fine because I did revisit that.
Okay.
So,
But
but
anyway, yeah, McCaffrey, he's up there like number 2 guy for the week.
So there was some solid weeks, and like I said, this position, I don't necessarily reach for this early, but if you did, the top guys are towards the top of this list right here. So good luck if you did it another way. But yeah. So anyway, that, and then we'll take a look at these rankings for this week too, and then we'll see where we're end up with that. But we can look at receivers real quick and look at their scoring last week. Against Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
Was that your wide receiver number 1 when we were
absolutely
doing this
not.
last week?
If you had him on your team last year, you probably didn't want to get him this year. Now, if he fell to you, look at that.
And
Number
then-
2 guy, this dude not even drafted in most leagues.
Not even drafted in most leagues. And
going
people
on?
give up on this dude. This is just a year 3 guy. We always talk about year 2 and 3 guys. Here's a guy. Good offense. As we've seen in a primetime game, they were moving the ball well.
Another year 2 guy, Keon Coleman.
There you go, right there.
Ibuka, coming rookie.
A rookie on there.
What's going on, man? Like, look at that. Top 4. No one would have thought.
So, it just goes to show.
Debo on a new team, just going off on that.
And the
This
only
Monday game?
guy on
Monday?
this, speaking of Debo, yeah, Debo looked pretty good. And then either way, but like the only guy that was probably drafted in the first round on this list was Puka coming in there at number 8. So
Garrett Wilson, second round.
a tough week for first round receivers. They show up here on this portion of the list, but there's some undrafted guys that show up here on this list. Trey Tucker, Calvin Austin, these guys weren't
Trey
drafted.
Tucker, we plugged him last year in the waiver ad.
Absolutely. So not the biggest week for receivers last week. So I expect that to change this week. The big names, I do expect results. Things don't stay the same, especially for fantasy. So if you had some of those top guys, just relax. This week it'll be fine. I'm not benching anybody. You're not benching Jamar Chase. You're not waking up and benching CeeDee Lamb. You're playing your top guys. You want to jump into the rankings right away for this week? We go straight to that, and
Jump in the rankings.
we could see what we project for this week, and then especially based off of last week. But yeah, so it just goes to show, the rankings are going to say one thing. You're going to have to do your own research because the rankings are going to be wrong. I wouldn't expect the rankings to be right every time. Honestly, that would be weird, don't you think? If like the rankings were just an absolute list of how this stuff was going to go every week. That would be kind of weird. So you're going to have to do some research. Again, there's certain tips you could do for running backs. If you're in a PPR, you want guys that get targets. For receivers, you want guys that get a lot of targets. You don't want just a guy that had one good week. If he's getting consistent 5 or 6 targets, you want to use that. There's things you can do to put yourself in a better position. But
a little confused on the rankings. It's looking like our drive's a little scrambled up. If you do something here in the background, don't mind us. Let me take a look over here.
if you go to rankings, I think I put a folder for week 2.
So week 2, and I'm just seeing these, and you got the ones from week 1. All right, technical difficulties.
Yeah. We're gonna find it. It's in there.
You know what? Let's wing it on the fantasy pros.
If you want to pull that up, I did that. But I said it was a big night in sports last night. Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez fight. I had to watch that. I couldn't miss that. I'm not the biggest boxing guy, but I don't miss the big events. And we were talking about that a little before we went on air. And good fight, man. Good for Bud. I was pulling for Canelo, but Bud looked good. I can't deny it. And I'm one of the more open-minded sports guys. I can have one opinion, but if you show me something else, I can change my mind. Bud looked good. Good for him.
PPR rankings for the week. Let's see. Let's make this window look nicer.
Yes. So this week, I expect differences from last week. So if you had guys that did really well, I'd be a little weary this week, except for those consistent guys. I'm not benching Josh Allen or anything, but if your top guys didn't perform, I'm not worried. But if I had, a random running back that went off, I may be a little weary this week. But very excited for this week. I'm in 2 different leagues. I'm in a expert one, and we call the other one kind of a beginning one, a family one. And just keeps you on both ends of the spectrum. The Dynasty League, that's cutthroat. As we're going to look into that later. There's some good talent in that league, and shout out to two of the owners in that league too, Brian. I wanted to tell you this: two of the owners in the Closing with Steve Dynasty Fantasy Football League are also competing for a championship in the Jules Baseball Dynasty Baseball League.
Wow.
Today is the final day. One was leading the other. I believe it was 6-4. Baseball goes by categories, but just goes to show there's cream of the crop in that right there. So congratulations to those guys. That is Gary and Pat, the owners of Allenville Mean Machine
Las Vegas out.
and the Las Vegas Outlaws. So congrats to those guys. Good luck. I don't know who's going to win. I don't know if it's coming down to the last day. I just checked in a little bit here and there. But if going into rankings for this week, what you got me set on there? Is that some running backs right there?
So we got some comments in the chat from Chief of the corner of jerseys. If you haven't noticed, the Bundy and Falco over here.
Oh, yeah.
He said we need a Bob Boucher jersey.
I actually have a Bobby Boucher jersey. I'll go ahead and bring that foosball jersey next week, okay? Thank you for that. I'll put that one right. That one should go right there by the Falco right there. I feel like it'll go in that corner over there. Yeah, well played. Yeah. Oh, right there. And it's a bright orange too. Love that one. Oh yeah, I got plenty of TV jerseys too. We could interchange those. The Al Bundy 4 touchdowns in one game. I'll give that another round of applause too. Polk
anyway, rankings here. I mean,
yeah, we got
typical guys in the top 10 here. I mean, this is back to kind of somewhat close to the draft rankings. I mean, Henry is on the rise, obviously. What do we got down here? 10 to 20 range.
So this is a range. Obviously, this is where you're going to have to compete.
Guy definitely dropped. He had a lot of high hopes. He reminds me of like the Bijan Robinson of 3 years ago. Like, dude, this is coming out, rookie. He's going to be a workhorse. He was a workhorse. The production wasn't quite there, but I expect him to kind of like figure things out as we go. He's still a rookie. It's going to take a couple of games.
It's going to take some time. Get everything together. Travis Etienne Jr. on that list. That's a name that I really like this week. He had a good week last week, and then they went ahead and said, okay, we're going to trade your backup. So they traded Tank Bigsby, sent him away to Philadelphia, and that puts a lot of confidence to me that they're going to go ahead and use this guy a lot. So I look for him to have a big rebound year. So anybody that owns him, you got him late in drafts. Dynasty owners, you had an off year last year, and this year he's firing away. So shout out to the Scranton Strangler and the Closing with Steve Lee. He's got to be excited for that. But again, there's names right there. The rookie Hampton, he was getting a lot of usage last week. I would say he had results, but that's going to turn out well. Oh, you start to get into that mid-20 range, Brian. There's still some hope there.
There's some former studs. I mean, Walker definitely was higher a few years ago. Montgomery has potential to break through if the Lions figure it out. But yeah, I mean, some of these dudes hit or miss. Like they could be waiver types here going forward if things don't pan out. This Washington guy, I'm expecting big things from him.
Absolutely. Especially Eckler just went down for the year.
So this guy, he's going to get the production. It's a matter of if he can capitalize on it or not.
And this is where a lot of the youth is right here. There's some year 2 and 3 guys right here. Pacheco sitting right there. Charbonnet, I like him backing up Walker. I don't think Walker's going to fully work out right there. So I'd have Charbonnet in all formats. If you got to reach outside of the top 30, good luck. But still Tyrone Tracy, Jordan Mason, those are names I like right there. Yeah, and moving on to receiver right there. Again, these top guys, I expect them to have big weeks. Jefferson, Lamb, Chase. Okay, they're not going to have. I mean, Jefferson at least got a touchdown last week, but 4 catches. I think it was only like 40 yards.
He pulled through just enough to help you out in some leagues. CeeDee Lamb was kind of lackluster. He looked like he was going to have a game, and then you come into that second half after that delay, and they're just like, oh my god.
Yeah, absolutely. That was tough. Nico Collins didn't necessarily light up the scoreboard last week. It's tough. There's a lot of guys that they got some targets. Some guys, they were just going up against good defenses. Everybody's fresh. September football, we talked about it last week. Yeah. It's different than December. Everybody's fresh, fast. The weather's perfect. Great, ideal conditions. There wasn't really any weather games last week.
Some of these dudes, Tyreek Hill had some decent production. Expecting, the guys on Philly to bounce back.
So, inside of that mid 20 range right there. Guys that are going to get a lot of volume. Pearsall, they had a Kittle go down. They're already having receiver issues. Although they're going with the backup quarterback for the next couple weeks here. He's still obviously one of the guys that where are the targets going to go? It's going to go to him. It can't really go to anybody else. A guy I'm not really excited about on this list, Travis Hunter. They only used him in the slot. He didn't necessarily look well. There wasn't a lot of separation.
He still had some decent points. I mean,
Absolutely. Just it doesn't
if
get me
he's
going.
if you need a kind of boomer bust flex option, I think that's kind of where he's going to end up.
Yeah, once you start getting down here, a lot of people that took running backs first, they're having to compete right here. This range is where your wide receiver 2 or 3 is coming from. I'd be more excited about
Keon Coleman, way down here, 43. He was the number 3 guy last week.
Yeah,
So it might take some. When you notice in rankings, a lot of the time, early season, these critics that are ranking them, they're very skeptical, and they will not. They're very conservative with the rankings. They don't put
Yeah.
a guy up until there's like 3-4 weeks of you just being.
Yeah,
a monster.
they're very vanilla too. They don't want to risk their own reputation, and like I said, that's part of where the Daniel Jones thing comes in. People just pile on that guy
Yeah.
because you don't want to risk your reputation supporting that guy. But I would.
It's like a lot of times. So in these ranks, you can look at overall scoring. So you can say stats, totals, and you can sort by scoring, like how many fantasy points they had. Like Jamar Chase, the 4-point week, he's gonna bounce back. But some of these dudes are ranked pretty low that did very well last week. Hollywood Brown. He's obviously going to do better with Xavier Worthy out. You got other dudes, Keenan Allen, Keon Coleman, Quentin Johnson. Like they're
Keon
low.
Coleman. I can't believe that name's down that low, Brian.
I can't because there's really no one taken from his production on the team. You know what it is? It's the matchup. He's going against Sauce Gardner this week in the Jets. That's probably what it is. But if he has a week this week, definitely he's a top 10 guy.
Well, and then even in that, the Jets, they were in a shootout game last week, so there could be points there.
So look at the most recent scored game, and I like trends that way. If he scored a lot, he's more likely to score a lot again. That's just how statistics work.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then that was a game right there. Like I said, he's a year 2 guy, and they're finally going to him. I don't expect him to just not be good.
The rankings are helpful to give you an idea of where you should value some of these people, but at the end of the day, you got to go with your gut, and that's how you're going to win fantasy.
Yeah, you're going to have to do research and your own eyes.
Yeah, let's round out with tight ends, and then we'll move on to Ellis pick 6 after that.
Yeah, so tight ends again. There's the top 3 guys right there. Those should be the top 3. Tyler Warren obviously looked pretty good with Daniel Jones last week, getting right to him. He was obviously consensus top rookie tight end right there. Maybe didn't necessarily go 1 or 2 in both any rookie draft right there, but and then Kelsey right there. He's just going to get a lot of targets. If you got Kelsey, that's just a consistent guy. That's a guy not always going to find the end zone, as we seen last year. He went a good stretch of the season there where he didn't even get in the end zone, but I'm not disappointed if I got him. Tucker Kraft looked good the other night, especially that was the Thursday night game. Excited if I got him for the rest of the season. But again, those are the typical, this is how it was drafted, wouldn't you say, for the rankings for this week? That's typically how the draft went. But again, where's our points leader from last week? Down there at number 17. So it's kind of crazy, like, again, where they get the rankings from. But I don't expect Dalton Kincaid to be the points leader this week. But just goes to show, take the rankings, little grain of salt, use them to part of your research, but not your full research. So as we're getting ready to transition to Ellis pick 6, I'm excited about week 2. Again, when I look at these rankings too, there was a rookie that got a lot of work for Cleveland, Fannin Jr. He led college last year in a couple receiving categories for tight ends, and he kind of came out of nowhere. And again, tight end is such a thin position that people will just fill in for whatever. As we're getting ready to bring Ella into the thing over here, and we're going to have Uncle Brian clip this one too. Yeah, and it's fine. We'll bring Ella onto the set where Brian gets us tightened up right there, and we'll get ready for Ella's pick 6. Hello, sweetheart. Welcome to the set. Let me give you a round of applause as you come on. So remember, as we do this, you're going to have to talk right into the microphone.
Okay.
So, hey, how's it going?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ready for this week?
Yeah.
So, how did your week go last week? Anything going on in your school, in your
Um,
family?
well, actually, in the family, I got a new puppy.
We did get a new puppy. Tell the people all about your puppy.
His name is Shadow.
Shadow.
He's really cute, and I love him.
Yeah, you love him.
Yeah.
Shadow, he's a good dog. We got a mini Bernedoodle. He's only 4 pounds. That's a little shocking.
Where is the dog? Let's get him out here.
So yeah, the dog's upstairs. I don't know if we can get the dog to come down here or
I
not,
could go
but
get
he's
him.
adorable. We could do that, Ella, if you want. You want to just jump right into your
Let's
picks
jump into
right
the
now?
rankings. If someone wants to bring the dog down, they'll bring the dog down. Let's jump over to Ella's
So
rankings.
as we get into Ella's, we'll pull up Ella's last week results. We'll take a quick little gander into how she did last week, and then we'll check what you think for this week. How was the puppy life, Ella, this week?
It's really good. Let's just say that he does know how to bite.
Yeah, I think he's playing, but yeah, he's got some strong teethers, huh?
Yeah. He's got little teethers.
Yeah, well, he's a good doggy.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I'm excited to see how you do this week. So we were talking with our friend John last week, and we noticed that Ella's Pick Six was basically a segment that ended up turning into pretty much a coin flip, Ella. Pretty much anytime you picked, it was 50-50, and 50-50 basically ends up being a coin flip, as we've got the dog brought to the set here real quick. And before we get into the coin flip, this is the newest dog in the family.
Shadow.
This is Shadow.
The puppy dog.
Welcome to the family.
He's
Okay,
here
you
for
want to
the
keep
game.
him with you while you do your picks, or you're gonna have to talk into the microphone?
All right. Ella's recap last week.
Okay, last week, Ella, 3 wins, 3 losses.
50%. Funny you bring that up. So we went on her season 1 record, 50-50. Literally a coin toss. Mike over here's got the coin toss. We can flip them this week. I'm stumbling over my words. Bear with me. So, 50-50. It's literally 50%, literally a coin flip. So, what do you say we do Ella versus a coin flip going forward?
Yeah, we'll see if Ella can beat a coin flip.
Let's see if
So
Ella
we're
can beat a
gonna
coin
do
flip.
that for the future. But 3-3 last week, not too bad. We expected the Lions to win. We did not expect the Bears to lose. But whatever. Although Brian had the Vikings. But anyway, we'll go into this week, Ella. Who is that? What do you think about it? Tell the people.
Hit that dog.
That's just my baby dog. Yeah.
Who do we got? Who do you want?
The 49ers.
Niners. Flip the coin. Niners on the left.
That's who you're taking, Ella, or are you just calling out who these are?
Calling out who they are.
What do you
Call the
think
left
the other one
heads,
is?
right tails. What is the right one? Oh, in the same.
So this is the New Orleans Saints. So who do you think's going to win this game?
I'm gonna pick the 49ers.
49ers. We're going to do 49ers heads, Saints tails. I'll do a coin flip. It's heads for the record. So the coin flip agrees with you.
Coin flip and Ella are on the same page.
Okay, what do we got next, Ella?
Um,
You know these
Who are
ones.
these?
the Bears and the Lions.
What you think? Tell the people.
Bears.
They're playing here in
Who do you
Detroit
got,
too,
Ella?
so
Who do you got?
I love both teams. They're very good, and I love both of their logos. But I feel like I gotta go with the Lions.
Forward on the field. All right, heads and tails.
stick
go.
with your home team.
The coin says the Bears.
Bears. Okay.
F the coin.
Coin's going against you,
it outta
Ella.
here.
We'll see what happens. Okay, what you
Get
got
outta
next, babe?
here.
Wait, who's heads? The left?
It was heads was road. Heads was road team.
Oh, it's the Lions. Sorry, coin. I
Oh.
take it back everything I said. Tails like the Lions' tails.
Okay. So anyway,
The
on to
coin
the
L are
next
the
one.
same right now. All right, Seattle and Pittsburgh. What are those teams?
We got the
The
Birds
Birds.
and
I think you might say it on there.
the Stars.
The Stars. The
Yeah.
Birds versus the Stars.
Yeah, we
Who
hate
do we
the
got?
Stars. Fun fact: there's a lot of bird teams in the league.
A lot
That's
of
weird.
birds.
I think I'm gonna do the birds.
The birds.
Okay, let's go. So that's the
The
Seahawks.
coin has got the stars. Also
Okay,
known as
we
the
actually have a
Steelers.
Seahawks jersey right here, baby. That's this team right here.
And we got the Steelers football up here somewhere. Did we?
Okay, you
Oh,
want
right
me
here.
to let Shadow go? We'll send Shadow back with NA. Okay.
Later, Shadow. Thanks for coming on the show.
Okay, and then we'll round out the rest of Ella's picks. The dog was just getting uncomfortable, and
We need guest pets every week. I think that's what we should do.
well, that one's a cutie, but you can't leave that one alone right now.
No.
He's so tiny.
We got 3 more we could bring on. So stay tuned.
He could hurt himself there.
All right.
Okay, Ella, this one of your favorites from last year. I don't know if you remember that one, but we'll refresh.
Denver and Indianapolis. What are those teams?
The Broncos.
Let's
Ooh,
go.
And the Colts.
Broncos and Colts.
We'll
That's
give
right.
that one away. Who do you got?
The Broncos.
Broncos. The coin head. The Colts.
Okay, so you guys differ there. We're gonna go with the
I got
Broncos.
4
Keep it
straight
moving.
tails on this coin.
That's lit.
That's crazy.
Next one's heads for sure. Okay.
Ooh.
Speaking of
Those are
birds.
Carolina and Arizona, both named after the state and not the city they play in. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's weird.
We got the Cats
Yeah, the cats and the angry birds.
and
Don't they look like the angry birds?
yeah,
She
but
was taking me
that's the
serious.
Cardinals
The Cardinals.
Okay.
and the Cats.
Cats and the Cardinals. Who you got?
What you think?
I'm gonna have to go with the Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Those are actually one of my favorites. My favorite like bird animals.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah, a cardinal up close. That is really beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a different color red than that though, but I'll take
it's
it.
close.
It's a heads.
Heads, they're going Panthers. Sorry, so you differ from the coin. We're gonna have to track the coins record here too. So if you're
We got it
keeping
on
track
video.
of that, and then the last one, I saved the last one here. We'll see.
Philly and Kansas City.
This
should
is
be
a Super Bowl rematch, Ella. If you remember from that Ultra Super Mega Football Bowl special, this is the Eagles and Chiefs from that. So you know these teams. We know you like Taylor Swift. What you think?
We got the Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs,
Yeah, another bird.
and I think I'm gonna have to go with the Kansas City Chiefs.
It's the chefs.
Let's roll with that, and let's see what your coin flip says.
It's also the chefs.
They agree with you.
The coin.
Okay.
1 head, 5 tails.
Okay, and then we could just round out. I got it all together. We'll sit here and go over Ella's 6 together. She had the 49ers. She had the Seahawks. She had the Cardinals. She had the Lions. You had the Broncos. And she had the Chiefs.
The coin had the Saints. No. Niners. Seahawks. Panthers. Oh, wait. I'm totally botching this.
Yeah, you had a lot of tails. So
It was all tails, 1 head. I think the head was the Broncos.
and I had heads for 49ers.
I think it was
So
the Kansas City
Holy crap.
Chiefs.
I'm blowing this because tails
Yeah.
would have been the right team. Heads the left.
we should have wrote it down. We had Ella's
All
notepad.
right, this is what it is.
You can write it down.
I got it.
Dun, dun,
It was
dun.
Saints, Lions, Steelers. Which one was the head? Colts, Panthers, Chiefs. All right.
Okay, that sounds lit. That sounds like
Okay.
it's it right there.
Holy
We're okay
crap.
for right now, Ella. Oh, that's kind of
We're
cool.
gonna sort it out. That was fun.
Okay, anyway, Ella's pick 6 for this week.
Ooh.
Thank you, my dear. All right, you're welcome to do as you like.
Have a
As,
wonderful day.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Gotta work on that coin grab too. This is just going everywhere.
Well,
Bye.
yeah, that was an interesting thing to bring. But like I said, she went 50 and 50 last year. She basically went 50-50 this year. We'll see what that coin can do against her. And that was that. So what you want to move on to next here? You want to jump into those fantasy leagues
Yeah,
here?
let's take a look, peek at the leagues here.
So last week we didn't really get into the fantasy leagues. There was not much of a need to, but now we'll take a look at that dynasty league real quick. Closing with Steve. This is year 3 of a dynasty league, and that's where you keep all your players at the end of the year for people that don't know, and then you just draft from 2 rounds of rookies. You have a bigger roster typically in a dynasty league, so that way you can afford to stash younger players. Uh, it kind of separates skill from luck. In a typical fantasy league that is known as a redraft league, a lot of times you can get lucky or you can be unlucky because of an injury. A dynasty, it's a little harder to assemble your team because it's an auction based draft. And you're going to have to figure out how to keep people throughout a couple years. So, now we're going to start to see separation. And there's a lot of talent in this league. As we already said, two of the owners are fighting for a baseball championship today. Two of the owners in the league have been in the finals both of the previous years. There's a lot of hungry guys in this league that are trying to get back at it. This league's going to be exciting for this year, and basically one whole division is 1-0, and the other whole division is 0-1, with the exception of one team in each one.
All right, so week 1 recap.
So, some high scores there, right there, and that's also pretty exciting.
Yours truly, number 1 score. Not to toot my own horn.
You're usually at the top of the list.
Followed closely by the winner last year, Anvil Meat Machine. So, me and Gary coming off strong.
Cream of the crop.
I know. The Washington Sentinels, Jake's team, they put up a fight there. I was kind of getting worried towards the end.
That's a good team. That owner's done a lot of work there, rebuilding that team right there, and he's primed for a good year. Again, the Detroit team did a lot of work for their team. That was a close matchup right there between Detroit and Vegas. Again, there was a lot of people that underperformed, so some bounce back opportunities. That Scranton team right there's got a lot of firepower. Again, the week 1 didn't all come together, but going forward, I'm excited about that team.
Yeah. So let's reformat the window here and look at something else. Let's look at week 2. What do you want to look at? Week 2 matchups?
Yeah, we can look at upcoming matchups because, again, you go 0-2 in this league. That's when you're going to start thinking about what can I do for trades? Where's my weakness? So there's already some people behind the 8 ball because of the Thursday night
week
game.
2 championship rematch between myself and Gary. I put up 14 with Josh Jacobs on Thursday night. That he was projected 20, so I'm shown in the red. So it's looking like it could be a coin toss for that one.
Absolutely.
Washington Sentinels came out strong, 17 points. Scranton Strangler, 19. Looks like that was underperforming. And then the East team, the Detroit Ballers, 11. That's an overperformance on his part. So most lopsided projection here be Matt's California Wildfire and Pat's Las Vegas Outlaws. Were basically 2 to 1 to 2 to 3 in favor of Matt there. So.
Yeah, and people are primed for bounce back weeks. So again, I think that's what a lot of the rankings or projections show. Again, the top guys that didn't perform well, I feel like they're going to have some big weeks. So again, this is a league where if you're 0-2 in this league, it's going to be tough. You might need to start making some moves. But again, if you're 0-1, no panic yet. I wouldn't panic myself until 0-3. That's when you start thinking, okay, what do I got here? Where can I start making some moves? But again, that league filled with a lot of talent, and excited to see where we end up after the week. Waiver wires in this league this week. There was a little bit of action, nothing too crazy. I'll pull it up here while you're transitioning over there. Cedric Tillman, the highest bid player this week, $17 again. Performed well, got a lot of targets there, so definitely was on somebody's list. Aaron Rodgers got picked up, Michael Penix. How could you leave those guys after the performance they had that week? I wouldn't want to leave them out there on the waiver wire either. And then again, there's people that stream defenses. The rookie tight end Fannin that I was talking about got picked up. There was a couple names that you didn't necessarily see in the draft. People were making some adjustments after week 1, and I myself, I have a couple people that I'm ready to drop at any given moment for somebody that may perform this week. So somebody does well this week, they're on my radar for the next week, but nothing too crazy on the waivers here for this league besides Tillman, Penix. Other than that, a couple guys went for $1, and then you could pick people up off the waiver wire. Again, Washington running backs. I expect all 3 of those now to be rostered as they figure out what's going on with the Eckler news being out for the year. Obviously, Krusky Merritt probably going to get a lot of the work going forward, but Nichols and Rodriguez Jr., they're obviously primed for more opportunities, but what happens with that, we'll see. And again, that league pretty wide open. Still, obviously, as most leagues are 1-0, but again, there's no huge talent despair yet, as you may start to see when we get into weeks like 3 and 4.
And switching over to the First and Goal league trophy here. If you didn't notice it last week, we got a skeleton scared of football. With the theme of the league, this was kind of an impromptu league last year, like last second. Let's get everybody together, jump into a league. First timer, a lot of first timers, some veterans. 12-person team or 12-team league PPR format. So we got the trophy here for last year's winner, but we're going to jump over week 1 recap. Gridiron Cannibals. I squeaked one out against the Wicked Wolves. That's Russ's team there. Looks like Mike's wife, or Jamie, she put up 117 against Kurt. We got John squeaked one out against Moomoo's Malevolent Lambs. Switched his name up this year. He was Moomoo's Menacing Monsters when he took the chip last year. John, despite drafting 2 quarterbacks in the first 2 rounds, overcame some adversity there. We got Allie's team, Tortured Coaches Department. Got one out against the newbie, the Haunted Hail Marys. We got Joe Buck Yourself, formerly known as Booty Beaters 2.0. Dropped one to the Crystal Lake Lifeguards over here. And then Death by 1,000 Hunts, formerly the Swift Slashers. Took one out against Nightmare and Brush Street. So, we got I don't know. There's some upsets in the league, but, week 1's out of the way. Week 2 matchups, myself versus Allie. We got an in-home matchup there. I underperformed. I also have Josh Jacobs on this team, interesting enough, with the Dynasty team.
Yeah, I like to do that too. Keep some of the same guys so that way you're not all over the board rooting against your players.
Yeah, it's hard when you have multiple leagues and what you want to do.
And this league's a fun league, like you said when you were bringing up the beginners portion of it. I love growing the game, so even though I prefer to compete in the expert level stuff like the previous league we just talked about, I still want to compete in stuff like this. I want to grow the game, help people that never did this before, because obviously it helps when you're watching football. Now you're watching the game. Okay, hey, I didn't care about this, but now I need my guy to give me 6 more catches so I can beat this guy. Again, this league's exciting with the horror theme especially. I love this. And again, it's a pivotal week. You don't want to go 0-2 because then you start putting yourself in a position where, hey, what can I do? As I'm trying to load up this too as well. But
it's harder to navigate the ESPN
and
site.
Luck can come into play in these leagues a little more. So you definitely need to get lucky, whether you drafted well, whether you wanted your team to be healthy, because you have a little less control than you do in a dynasty league, and that creates a little more fun too, especially for seasoned guys like us. I didn't make the playoffs in this league last year, and that would be like shocking. What, this guy does this or that, whatever. He knows this about ball, but no, that's just how these things work. And then when it's a game, especially only 10 or 12 people, barely half the league can make this. This league, it's definitely half right down the middle, but
6 in the playoffs.
Everybody don't make the playoffs. Everybody don't win a championship. Like I said, I've been playing 20 years. I only got 4 championships with money involved. I won some leagues without money involved, but I'm not counting that.
I only got 1 in the 10 years I've been playing.
Yeah, so everybody can't win. That's what puts more value into when you're actually doing well and when you actually do win the thing. So, and you got to earn it regardless. No one's just going to hand it to you just because you've been doing something for a while. So this year I'm hoping to earn it. I definitely don't want to start 0-2, and I won't because I won last week. Last year it was a little rough start for me.
There will be some 0-2 teams and also some 2-0 teams. Between Allie and myself, one of us will be 2-0. We had 0-1 matchups, the Moo-Moo's Malevolent Lambs, and Joe Buck Yourself. Crystal Lake Lifeguards, so Mike and Emily here.
Yeah,
one of them is going to be 2-0.
Someone's taking a loss there.
And then Russ and Anthony, one of them is going to go 0-2 as well. So
0-2 is not big panic, but it's little panic,
wouldn't
you say?
0-3, 0-4, you're really getting scared. So there's still room to turn it around, and obviously the matchups are going to help. We're not going to have all the undefeated teams against each other much longer, and all the winless teams against each other.
You got to lock in for sure. Regardless, again, you want to put your best lineup together. Don't freak out on people that didn't perform last week. I'm not benching anybody, towards the top. But you want to pay attention. You don't want to make a mistake for sure. Make sure you stream a defense. Your defense didn't do well last week. You don't have to have any loyalty to that. Change that. Check out your kicker. Don't leave your kicker just hanging. That was a mistake I made last year. Make sure you got a guy that's getting opportunity. It doesn't matter if he only missed one kick all year. Okay, well, how many times is he kicking? Because I need opportunities.
Well, we're coming up on the hour mark of the show. A little choppier this week. Had a couple things we're fumbling around with, but we're not professionals. We're doing this for fun.
Talking ball, man.
Yeah, just sitting here having fun for the family. Whoever else wants to watch, we appreciate you joining and watching us. And we're gonna try to do better every week, and I think we make small improvements, and we're figuring it out.
We're rocking
putting
it out.
just enough time into this to get it off the ground and running a consistent show. So I think we're doing all right.
Yeah, rocking it out, talking ball. Absolutely. Hopefully we can help some people out. Again, excited for football. Big week. Again, hopefully a unifying week. Again, after the week we had, man. I just take it
Toughest
easy
division
this
in the
week,
country.
people. Sit down and enjoy some damn football.
Just have
Relax.
some fun. Let's all relax. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So what are we rounding that out today? We didn't do any bets this week. Last week didn't necessarily do terrible. 1-2 lost the other ones. The lottery parlay didn't hit. Shocker. Although those don't usually hit.
I know.
But
I was feeling really good about it. You
we're-
feel so good about it until it happens.
we're a couple grand less in our pockets than we thought we were going to be. But
Couple
this week,
grand. What's going on over there? There's
but
a gambling hotline.
But this week, nothing was really grabbing my eye. And again, you still don't really know, and you don't want to force it. That's another thing with the gambling thing. There was some lines last week that were obviously pretty obvious to me, and maybe I read them wrong. So let me see how it looks this week. And then, again, we live busy lives ourselves too, so we got other things going on. We weren't locked in on the betting world, and that's how it should be. You don't want to be gambling every week just to gamble. However, this week, I'm going to put a couple guys for some touchdowns. Some of those top names that didn't score last week, I got faith in that. But other than that, there was nothing jumping out at me, man.
Yeah, I'm just going to chill out this week.
Yeah.
Take a moment to relax. Watch the fantasy teams. See how they perform. Watch the local teams.
Yeah.
See if I can catch a whole game. I haven't done that yet this year. So, time to take a break.
Yeah. Enjoy a football Sunday in America and get on with our lives. You know what I mean?
Hallelujah.
Best we can do. All right, Brian. So you're going to fade us out here? What are we doing here?
Fading out to the logo. There we are. Check that new logo out.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
Check us out again.
Yep. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your wife. Everybody's watching on here. So, catch you next week.